Welcome to the Digital Amateur Television Experimenters Night. This is VK7 OTC, the club station of the Radio and Electronics Association of Southern Tasmania. Amateur radio is a worldwide hobby that has many different aspects. Digital television is just one of the many modes and areas that are covered. Maybe you're interested in becoming involved in the DATV Experimenters Nights. You realise that you do not have to be a radio amateur or need any ATV equipment to participate anywhere in the world. Also participate in the night by coming up to the Queen's Domain club rooms. Yes, right on top of the Queen's Domain in the heritage-listed Coast Wireless Station. You never know, we might get you in front of the camera or behind doing one of the many roles during the night. We get underway with our program on a Wednesday night from 7:30pm local time. We'll see you soon. This is VK7 OTC.
Okay, this is VK7 OTC, the club station of the Radio and Electronics Association of Southern Tasmania with our ATV Experimenters Night. And I have in the studio both Richard and also Rex. Welcome, guys.
Thank you.
Welcome, contributors. We've even got a studio audience in Peter. Hello, Peter. So our ATV night tonight, we've got a pretty full night with Richard and Rex. But just before we get underway, what I might do is just remind a few people you can call in on Repeater 2. Now, our YouTube, we are streaming tonight. However, I can't actually get to the YouTube streaming channel because of a slight technical issue that we've got. So I can't actually reply to that, so I apologise for that. So R2 is probably your best bet if you've got access to Repeater 2. I'll just start that off. And you can call in on that particular medium. Now, just a quick reminder, our AGM, our annual general meeting for REAST, is this Sunday, the 31st of 2021, 31st of January, from 11am, and the AGM will be followed by a short discussion about our 6-metre repeater and some changes that we're wanting to do to the 6-metre repeater. And then there will be an auction of some equipment from VK7 Mike Sierra, who Silent Key. So, and then we head off to our BYO barbecue. So just to let people know, if you want to talk about the 6-metre repeater and also be involved with the auction of some very nice equipment, then please come up on the on Sunday the 31st. So there you go. Now, welcome, Richard.
Welcome.
How you going?
Oh, splendidly. Happy Wednesday.
Now, why are you and Rex in the studio?
Because we've been playing with some things.
Excellent. And what things would they be?
Q65.
Mm.
And all sorts of clever things. Low signal on 10 gigs.
On 10 gigs. Excellent. So novel propagation modes.
Very novel.
Yeah.
Very novel. Well, they're very novel from my particular place.
Okay.
We've proved that not only in real estate, but position is very important in amateur radio as well.
Oh yeah, location.
Yes, but no, look, I worked Red on Monday night. I don't know. Yeah, and it was. I couldn't believe how strong the signals were on rain scatter. Like, goodness gracious.
Now, explain where RET is. This is VK3
WE.
Whiskey Echo. Yep.
Who's in Barnsdale, however you pronounce it.
Bairnsdale.
Okay.
Bairnsdale.
If you're in Victoria.
Okay. QF32. Is that.
Okay.
He's got a very good look out. In fact, I think in lots of directions, I think he's got a very good look out, but predominantly to the sort of south-westish.
Okay.
But his signal's getting over some really steep hills. I've got
Profile?
a profile in there.
Excellent.
Like goodness.
Okay.
But it was obviously based on a bit of rain scatter, which is really quite remarkable how it all works.
Well, I think the thing about Rhett's location is he can mount his dish under cover,
Okay.
and look sort of he's got an area which is undercover but has got no glass.
Yeah. Okay.
So
Okay.
it's absolutely ideal.
So protected and all that.
And Richards can mount his up. He'll show you.
Cool.
So, apologies for that slight technical difficulty.
So that's a picture of the 10 gig system sitting up in my Radio Shack, aimed out the only available spot that's not impeded by 20 dB attenuating glass.
That's looking north.
Yes, pretty much north.
Okay.
I don't remember the exact heading, but according to Google Earth, if you look in the very distance, you can see there's a bit of a green tree.
Yeah.
I need to be about a little bit to the left of that.
Okay.
It's pretty technical, but
No. Okay. Okay. That's all right.
And the advantage is I'm also very lucky that I can mount my dish inside my lounge room, so it doesn't matter if it rains. And if you're looking for rain scatter, there's usually rain around.
I'm getting sick of this.
somebody gets soldering on.
Why does it change?
So, and it turns out that I can beam between some trees, and so we're very lucky that about the only station that we could work and all be undercover and
is red.
Is red.
You're kidding me.
Yes. and not have trees in the way.
Okay. Now, do I keep going?
Yeah, let's go with it.
Let's keep going.
Before it crashes.
Oh, there's your tree.
Yeah, so in the very distance, there's 3 trees, and they're very visible on Google Earth, and they're very handy trees.
Excellent. Excellent.
So that's a Google Earth representation
Oh,
of
yes.
where I am there and where Rhett is up there,
Okay.
which is probably not incredibly long way, except the fact that it's over a fairly
568 kilometres.
very large bunch of hills.
Okay. Keep going. Keep going.
Yeah. Okay, so basically my station is on the very left, and if you have a look there, I've got that hill
you're
which is
down
about
here.
which is about 300. No, we say 208 metres higher than me,
Yeah,
and
11 kilometres.
11
away.
kilometres away.
Oh,
So it works
yeah.
out. Actually, doesn't work out in maths quite as bad as it looks. It worked out. What did we say? 3.8 degrees or
Yeah.
something. It's almost 4 degrees. It doesn't. It looks a lot more than that, but
Yeah. Okay.
But what that means is the rain has to be closer to Richard's End.
Then red's end. Yeah.
Yeah,
So this is red over
That's
here.
red over
yeah.
here,
So he basically has got a clear view.
Yeah. Okay. So this is all Bass Strait
that's
here.
straight. Yep.
That's right.
And that's. Do you know what that
Oh.
is?
It's pretty close to Mount Arthur.
Right. Yeah. Okay. That's challenging.
That is quite challenging.
Yeah,
You would normally say that's not possible.
particularly on 10 gigs.
Correct.
Certainly, any of the commercial links that we install, if that was the path profile for 10 gigs, we'd be
No.
fairly negative about
Correct.
installation.
And probably not a commercial proposition if you have to wait for rain.
No, that's true.
Okay. Keep going.
Okay, yep.
And I'm pushing the button. There we go.
So this is a bomb
Oh yes.
weather radar of what was over the state, and obviously Bairnsdale is sort of up sort of top here.
Up there.
So we're guessing that that sort of bunch of purple stuff in there is
Well, actually, the blue's the strongest,
Yep.
the
Yep.
light blue, and that's probably a lot closer to Richard,
which
which
is
is ideal.
why
Okay.
it worked so well for me, because both Red and Rex have rang me on a few occasions once I sort of had it set up and said, "Oh, look, we're getting really, really good signals," and I'd sort of whoosh upstairs and open the window and get stuff set up and whatever, and get the odd decode.
Oh, keep going.
Okay, so that is the frames of basically me working Ret.
Okay.
So basically, I was receiving him at -22 and he gave me -15.
Red's only running 10 watts, by the way.
Yeah,
And what are you running?
30. So,
Great.
share. So there was another couple that he sort of sent CQ, and it actually got a bit better, minus 20. There, so 22, whatever.
That is remarkable.
It is. So then the next shot hopefully shows the waterfall of that particular. So that's basically Ret coming in there on the odd periods.
Which is Red?
The alternate ones, because obviously one of them was him and one of them wasn't him.
I can't even pick them.
No,
I can't even pick it.
no.
Hang on.
I think if you use the VK7MO squintoscope,
Hang on. Right here.
so there it is there.
That's 1,000.
So that's where you can see the sink. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
And if-
what?
And if you see, you need to zoom.
What transceiver?
Right
were you
about
using?
there.
The 9700.
9700. Yeah.
Wonder why you've got all that peak of noise in the middle there at about
Don't know.
1500.
Yeah, 1500 to 2000.
The stuff at the end is caused by the way having the window too wide, too much wider than your passband.
Okay.
Yep.
Yep.
So if you bring the window in, that'll
That'll
get
just
rid
come
of that
into-
noise and that.
Okay.
But the passband of your 9700 should be flatter than that.
Okay. I think that was with filter one in.
Might be something to look at.
Yeah.
Voluntarily.
Okay.
So it just goes to show sort of obviously how much of the signal's not there sort of visibly. Like you can,
Correct.
yeah.
Right.
It's there by there's the MO squintoscope. Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
So that's another bunch of stuff from when Rex worked Red, and you can see obviously the difference in signals there.
Cool.
But on the next slide, it shows you the water.
Ooh.
So obviously the ones that are very visible is Rex.
Yep.
And the ones in between, and you can almost sort of extrapolate and see that there is a bit in there.
Well, there's a bit of noise in there, well and truly.
Yeah.
Bit of.
Well, that will be signalled with different Doppler shifts
Yep.
of the rain.
Yep, yep.
Okay.
But you can see the spikes on the graph down the bottom, and sort of you can see that sink.
Yeah.
Which I
Yeah.
think is
Okay.
so,
Fantastic.
So I think
That's it.
that might be it. Yes.
Yeah, we're back to where we were. Cool. Now, do we go to Rex's?
Yes.
Okay, this will be fun. Wish we had a camera in the studio.
What are the hills? That's backdrop from Mount Wellington, is it?
No, Mount Wellington's over
No,
there.
that's looking north.
So,
So,
You're not south.
Coin Ridge.
No, Coin Ridge is behind me as
Yeah.
well.
Oh, right.
that's Coin Mountain, it could be,
Yeah.
in the Midlands. But I think that
Well,
even that's a bit far away. That would be over the horizon. That'd be curve of the earth.
We'll
sort
take
of
that as
stuff.
homework. We'll actually find out what the name of the hill is and come right back to you.
Okay, now we've got pictures, so go for it, Rex.
Right, next slide.
Let's push next.
Okay, that's what you've just had from Richard.
Okay.
Richard was going to mention 1296 too.
Oh, okay.
Oh, that I worked.
Cool.
That I worked Peter
Peter.
on 1296. Yeah.
Okay.
Which was a bit unusual for me. It was quite funny because the actual 4 metre long Yagi was in my Radio Shack.
Oh yes, you told me how you got it in there, which is, I think that's more of a feat of
Yeah.
a
I was getting those looks from Alison. Like, really, you idiot. But it's all good now.
yeah. It's fine. Waters have been smoothed.
No, she just laughed.
She said, "You idiot."
That's right.
Oh, I know that too well. Cool. Okay.
Next slide. Okay, these are some of the things that I've been testing this new mode Q65. Richard and I are both part of a small group that Joe Taylor is providing us with pre-beta versions of Q65 to
Yes.
test.
Okay.
And then we've got people at the other end, and so a sample of the sort of things that we've been doing and producing lots of files and sending them to Joe.
Okay.
I've been working K6QPV. He's got a 1.8 metre dish to my 77 centimetre dish, my small dish.
Yep. Okay.
And he could get down to 13 watts in poor conditions with about 150 hertz spreading. And
Wow.
and in 60-second periods, I could still work him
Okay, that's-
with Q65.
That's impressive.
Then I actually think this one's probably more impressive. 1296, I worked KA1GT, who's right over the other side in Maine,
Okay.
sort of
On the east.
absolutely northeast coast of,
Yeah.
of,
Okay.
of the United States. So the window was about 15 minutes at most,
Okay.
and I had to beam right at the horizon, so I had lots of noise and beaming right across Hobart and so forth.
Okay.
He's got a 3 metre dish. He ran, I think, 240 watts, so that sort of overcome some of the noise at my end.
Yep.
But he had trees that started building up noise at his end as the moon went down because
Yes.
we were so far apart.
Yep.
And I worked in with just my single 37 element Yagi on EME. And bear in mind that there's 3 dB loss because he's using circular polarisation
Yeah. Okay.
on his dish,
Yep. And what power were you running?
100 watts.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
So
That's pretty impressive.
it is pretty impressive. I was pleased.
EME with a Yagi.
Yes, a single Yagi.
And it wasn't Dan.
And it wasn't. Yes, if I was trying to work down, it'd be another question because he has a 15 metre dish on the 1296, but a 3
That's
metre.
HB9Q.
Yeah,
Yes.
but a 3
Okay.
metre dish is typical of what a lot of people run on 1296.
Yeah. Okay.
I used to run a 2.4, but so that was interesting.
Okay.
I did a lot of tests with Peter 7PD on 1296, and we went up to the 300 second period, so you got a lot of integration,
Okay.
and we got down to 30 milliwatts between here and Launceston.
30 milliwatts on microwave.
Yes.
On a microwave frequency.
And it's a pretty mountainous path in between here and Launceston.
My word it is.
And then the 10 gig stuff has been the most impressive to me, just how well Rainscatter works.
Yep.
And I've got a better takeoff than Richard,
Right.
but not that much better. I have to boom over mount direction,
Yep. Okay.
but it's only about 1 degree instead of 3 and a something.
3.8, nearly.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that seems to help a lot. As well, I'm using 1.3 metre dish against Richard's 60 centimetre dish.
Okay.
And that really helps in 2 ways. First of all, a bigger dish, you pick up more signal, but your beamwidth is narrower, so the Doppler spread is less.
Yes, yep.
Okay.
So it's
It's
helping.
bouncing off less,
It's-
refracting off less rain droplets.
Yeah, no.
Okay.
So that works pretty well. But I can copy Rhett's 10 watts almost all the time,
With or without rain scatter.
with or without rain scatter. Now, the troposcatter is much weaker.
Okay.
I mean, the rain scatter, the strongest I've had on rain scatter is plus 5 dB.
From Rhett.
Yes. No, the other way around. Sorry, he copied my 90 watts at plus 5 dB.
Flippin' heck. Yeah, okay.
That was at the same time Richard had that hot.
That was hence the ring up and said, I think you need to get up again. That's fine, just let me get
and-
upstairs.
The interesting thing is, it seems like 10 gigs works really well on this path, because if there's a big high, you get some enhanced troposcatter.
Yep.
If you're in between highs, you usually have rain,
Hmm.
and you've got rain scatter,
Yeah.
and so 10 gigs sort of works all the time.
So it might be a commercial proposition.
However, we have one exception. So we'll go to the next slide.
Yes.
Now that was the rain scatter. It's essentially the same picture that Richard had, with that very dense bit in the sort of over the
Sort of Campbelltowny,
yeah.
Tunbridgey sort of.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
And that's where Reed copied me at plus 5 dB. I think I copied him at about plus minus 3 dB, but that's the power difference.
Yeah, but still, -3 is a thumping signal.
What's
Yes.
audible? Probably
Yes,
audible.
that's right.
It's still a thumping signal.
That's right for 10 watts. Now the interesting thing is, over this sort of now about 6 weeks that we've been doing this, we're pretty sure we can get rain scatter even with that white stuff.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
The white stuff is
Yep.
what the Bureau of
The
Met
minimum.
regard as
Yeah.
almost no rain.
Yeah. Yeah.
At times we even think there's rain scatter and there's nothing on the Bureau of Met radar.
Yep.
And partly this is because we're using forward scatter,
Okay.
whereas the Met Bureau have to use back scatter.
Yeah.
And
To get reflected back to the.
yeah, and forward scatter is just, it's a bit like aircraft enhancement. Forward scatter, you get a lot of gain,
Yeah. Okay.
whereas back scatter, it just scatters everywhere and you don't get,
You only get a little bit of it back at you.
you know.
Yeah.
I mean, we just happen to be very lucky that Rhett's in the right place, but
This is perfect.
yes.
This is fantastic.
Next slide. Now, this was a single tone,
Okay.
and what was interesting about, and this is the same day, I'm not quite sure how strong it was because it doesn't indicate, but WSJT has a waterfall, and below the waterfall it has a spectrum of that.
Yep.
And you can see when you set the smoothing to 1,
Ooh.
there was a whole lot of separate signals in the rain, and they're spread over probably 50 hertz.
So that's the. What causes that? That's.
Well, I don't know absolutely, but I suspect there are just lots of different rain cells.
That's all shooting back at different
Yes.
shifts and all sorts of stuff.
And some of them getting in phase and out of phase, and different
Okay.
Doppler shifts depending on the
Travelling in different
turbulence in the
direction.
rain. And
I wonder if you can get some sort of processing that tells you what the characteristics of the raindrops are based on what you're getting back.
I've sort of wondered about this because one of the first jobs I had was at the Met Bureau looking at this sort of stuff.
There you go.
The interesting thing is you can set the smoothing, which sort of integrates all that,
Yeah.
and see how sharp and
well,
narrow
truly.
it is.
Oh, okay.
And I think Joe and Nico in particular, because while Joe's done all the new sync methods,
Yeah.
Nico has, who originally wrote
The Costas Array.
no, not the Costas Array. Joe did that,
Okay.
but Nico did the basic methodology, which was in QRA,
Okay.
and he's done the basic message methodology that's in this one.
Okay.
And I remember when he was developing QRA, he did some smoothing that improved it by about 4 dB. And
Right.
so I think that's because you can now pick out exactly where the peak is.
Well, yeah, hey, from a signal to noise ratio point of view, you prefer that to that.
That's right.
Yeah,
So
well,
I think
truly.
this is one of the clever things that
Yeah.
that works. I'm not completely sure.
Wow. Okay.
Next slide.
Was that audio that you could hear?
Oh yes, yes.
Yeah, it's all in audio.
Yeah. Now, Rhett and I have also, we haven't done it that often, but whenever signals have been good on 10 gigs, we've been trying 1296.
Okay.
1296 doesn't give you any advantage on rain scatter,
Okay.
but even when it's good on troposcatter, it has to be really good. There basically has to be a high level duct
Yep.
for 1296 to work, and
Whereas 10 gigs gets through.
10 gigs gets through without a duct,
How's that work?
just troposcatter.
Okay.
Yes, you don't
Now,
have a duct as such.
When you do the sums, we've got more antenna gain at 10 gigs,
Yeah.
but the propagation loss is much higher at 10 gigs because propagation loss is worked out between isotropic antennas, and an isotropic antenna at 10 gigs has a very small area compared to one at 1296. So, and for troposcatter, it's for line of sight, it's a 20 dB change in frequency because of the area of the isotropic antennas.
Okay.
But for troposcatter, there's another 10 dB effect, in as much as the troposcatter doesn't work as well at the higher frequency. And so it's a 30 dB with frequency, which means changing from 1296 to 10 gigs, it actually costs you 27 dB.
But hang on, you're telling me you're getting better results on 10 gigs?
But our antenna gains are much higher.
Oh, okay. So it compensates for your loss.
Yes. But you've got to
Yeah.
point more accurately.
Yeah, okay. Okay. We're back to that pointing thing again, Rex.
Yes. Yes. But
You're good at that.
yes.
You're going to show us later how good you are at that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Maybe.
what is interesting is that 10 gigs gives you the best of two worlds. If there's rain scatter, it works. If there's chopo, it works. If there's ducting, it works. Whereas 1296 only works really when there's ducting.
Fantastic.
Only real question is, when do you start your 24 gig experiments?
Yeah,
Wow.
we're going to have someone at the other end. Now, we'll go to the next slide. Now, we did have one failure where Rhett couldn't copy me at all.
Oh, okay. So
And-
what were the difference in conditions?
There was a tremendous duct. This duct,
Whoa. Yes, I see.
see that duct?
Okay.
Now that duct is just below 1,000 metres, but there's also another duct below that that's still pretty strong, out to about minus 400.
Oh, the other one's out to minus.
Well, it actually goes off the scale. It goes to minus 1,400.
Right.
This is about one of the strongest ducts I've ever seen across Bass Strait.
Wow.
And
At
the
1,000
trouble is, it
metres.
was below the height of the
Yeah.
intervening mountains. So it was just
Yeah.
ducting everything straight into the mountains, and
straight into the
nothing was going across.
Wow.
So in effect, that would have been capturing anything that was being sent and careering it into the mountain,
That's right.
basically.
So
Well, that's fascinating.
that only happened once in about 6 weeks. Of
Okay.
Probably 70% of that time testing, but it was fascinating that was the reason for the failure.
Fantastic.
Next slide. Now, I did some over-air comparisons. It's actually extraordinarily difficult to do comparisons of different modes over the air because unless you can set up two complete systems at the same
Independent
time,
systems, yeah.
you can't take account of it. And the first time we tried it, I started off with QRA and I was getting 100% not QRA, Q65.
Yep.
And I did 10 periods and I got 10 out of 10.
Okay.
I moved to JT65C and I got 1 out of 10. I moved to JT4 and I got 1 out of 10. And I moved to QRA64 and I got none out of 10.
Oh.
But then I thought maybe the propagation dropped off
Yep.
during this period.
Yep.
So we decided to design the test a bit differently, in which we interleaved some Q65, then JT65,
Yep.
Q65, JT65, Q65, and then the next repeated that, and it's 10 minutes or 10 periods of each,
Yep.
which is actually 20 minutes because it's
Yeah. Okay.
So it took the whole day just about to do this. And unfortunately, it started off on troposcatter and finished in rain scatter.
Okay.
So
Okay.
it's a bit hard to draw too much
Comparison.
from it. However, at least in all of the tests we did, Q65 was in front.
Yeah. Okay.
And those numbers are for full AP, where you actually know the information before you start,
Yeah. Yep.
and the others with no AP, and the difference is pretty similar in terms of which mode, how effectively that's how far those modes are below Q65.
Yeah. Yeah.
So on that basis, it's not a lot of difference, but certainly JT65C is worse, and my suspicion is that JT65C has more difficulty in gaining sync because it was never designed to cope with this
Yep.
spreading.
Yep.
Now, Joe does say one of the advantages of the new mode Q65 is it's immune to meteor pings. So normally JT65, if you're using it on troposcatter and you get hit with a meteor ping, it destroys that decode.
Yeah. Okay.
Because there's Doppler shift off the meteor and they're strong and they stuff it up.
Okay.
Uh,
Which is that why it's so good with rain scatter?
I think it might be.
Because you'd be getting all sorts of stuff from rain.
Yes. Interestingly, though, we have not really felt that the spreading was any worse on troposcatter than rain scatter.
Okay.
But what I think is happening is rain scatter has more little cells, so you get strong bits for a short period.
Well, your earlier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whereas troposcatter spread as much, probably because the wind speed and the turbulence of the atmosphere where it's scattering is similar.
Yeah.
So the Doppler spread is similar.
It's similar.
It's just that the rain is lots of small little strong bits of rain. So
Fantastic.
next slide. Averaging. So now QRA65 has the ability. Sorry, QRA64 doesn't have any ability to do averaging.
Okay.
But Q65 has got some special techniques which Joe will publicise once he publishes it,
Okay.
which would allow it to gain sync about 4 dB below what you get single decodes.
Okay.
And what that then means is you can start to do averaging.
Okay.
And for my tests, and they're limited, you could average over 4 to 6 periods and gain another 2 dB. And if you averaged over up to about 10 periods, you could gain 3 dB. Now, it's going to take a lot more time, but it might just get you through by using...
In the edge cases,
If you're on the edge, yeah.
Yeah.
When you're on the air. Okay, next slide. And acknowledgements to the development team. I mean, certainly of late, Joe Taylor has been putting in enormous efforts. We've all been feeding him files, and he's been improving it, and
Fantastic.
and so forth. So, but they're a group. They've all contributed, and so I acknowledge not only their efforts, but for inviting us to participate, which has been
truly
great fun.
And I think I call out Bill Somerville there, who has the patience of a saint, answering everybody's questions.
Yes.
Which I see go past on the list. I just, oh my goodness, okay.
Yeah. And final slide. It's still early days and further improvements can be expected.
Yep. Okay.
It seems to have the potential to replace most of the slow modes from HF and above.
Yep.
That includes JT65, JT44, JT9,
Yep.
QRA64 and JT4F. In fact, Joe is not even going to include QRA64 in the public release, so
Okay.
that's gone.
Yep.
Uh,
You can set the TR.
you can set
Yeah.
the TR.
Yeah.
I mean, in some ways, once people work out what's most appropriate for particular situations,
Yep.
there'll have to be some standardisation.
Yep.
But at the moment, it allows you to set the TR period and the tone spacing, so that unless you know what the other guy's using, it's just not going to work.
No, correct.
So, a public release is now, I think, not far away, possibly within the next couple of weeks.
Cool. Excellent.
Thank you.
Thanks, Rex.
How do you get hold of Melbourne radio sound information?
Believe it or not, you get it from the University of Wyoming.
Yes. Everybody contributes to the University of Wyoming.
It's not quite that. Everyone who's signed up to the World Meteorological Organization
Yes.
contributed to the WMO, and the WMO makes it available freely under the UN Convention to anybody who wants it. But what the University of Wyoming do is they extract all the WMO data and put it into a format and put it on the web so everyone can use it.
Oh.
Now there is a delay, firstly because the balloons go up, well in Hobart and Melbourne they go up at 00Z and 12Z each day.
Okay.
And if the balloon only leaves at 00Z, by the time it gets to sufficient height, they process the data and they send it off to WMO. Well, it's about 90 minutes for it to get to height, and then there's some communication, and it's all got to be downloaded. So you're probably looking about a 3-hour delay before you get the data.
That's
However, there is a new program that Richard found,
Windy.com.
windy.com, which models the atmosphere,
Yeah.
and that forecasts into the future. And it's not bad. I mean, it hasn't got anything like the resolution of the radiosonde data, but the big advantage is it you can pick any part of. I mean, for the radiosonde data, it's only available in Melbourne and Hobart. Nothing in between. You've got to interpret what might be going on. But Windy.com tells you everything that's going on anywhere in the world.
At any
At
heights. At
any height.
different heights.
It's not real good below 1,000 metres.
Well, that's where this comes in. This fills that gap.
But
Okay.
but Windy.com's really good. I think Windy.com has a battle when you've got hills that are about the same height as
The streams, the jet streams.
I suppose it's
or
only
whatever,
modelled data, isn't
and
it?
it's modelled,
Yeah.
but it's
Okay.
but the world global models are getting very good.
And the computers are getting faster and faster and bigger.
Yes,
They can run these things
take all
on.
this stuff.
So-
And Windy.com gives you choices of different global models.
Okay.
You can use the European model or the North American model.
Okay.
And yeah, you can have, like the man with 2 watches, you have 2 answers.
Yeah, you go back to that problem.
I think it's well worth sort of taking account of what Hepburn shows, and if Hepburn shows black over Tasmania, you can assume that's just because Hepburn's not looking
On land.
not above 1,000 metres,
Yeah. Okay.
and so he can't give you anything sensible in central Tasmania.
Yep.
But combine that with windy.com, you can.
There's that other site too that's tied up with the VK Spotter that shows that other.
F5LEN, but I think he's also limited to 1,000 metres.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you have to log in or sign in?
For VK Spotter you do, but Windy.com I think is free.
Yeah, just
I think
well,
you can
you can
create an account and pay, and I think you can
you get it more
things.
regularly.
Yeah.
You get as it is at the moment. It gives you every 6 hours, but if you pay, you get maybe every hour or something.
Yeah. Okay.
No.
Well, there you go.
Pretty handy screensaver. That's all we were using it for. When I started playing with it, I went, oh, all this cool stuff.
Yes.
I love it.
Been spreading windy.com all around the ham community.
Oh, there you go. The price is going to go up now. Thank you, Rex. Thank you, Richard.
No worries at all.
That is fantastic, and I look forward to the next instalment, and the release actually,
and the public release,
the public release of 2.4.0, and that I'll zoom the one of my later items. Those who don't have access to 2.4, the development version of 2.4, who are using 2.3.0 release candidates, will have realised that on Australia Day at UTC changeover time, their RC3 stopped working.
Yes.
If you download RC4, which is available, it will take you through to the 2nd or 3rd of February, anyway, around that time. So
that might be an indication that they hope to get 2.4 out by that date.
Correct. they did extend RC2 to RC3, which was actually the 19th to the 26th, and then it's the 26th to the 2nd of February. So, I don't know whether that's an indication or not as to what they're about to release. But anyway,
No.
but So if you're a user, you have probably already realised that it's stopped working. So anyway, that's fantastic, and I look forward to the release and the next instalment of your communications with Rhett. So we should get we should see whether we can get Rhett on a Zoom call or something and get the other end of the.
Yes, we should have done that.
Get the other end. So I'll we'll be in contact. So good stuff. All right.
Okay.
Thanks, guys.
No worries.
Now you can take your respective things with you.
Sticks of USB.
So
Next item.
thank you.
And don't forget, Rex, to take your phone off silent. Just saying.
Thank you.
Yeah. Oh.
Here you go, Richard. Oh, thank you very much.
Okay. That was Rex and Richard with amazing 10 gig rain scatter and tropo scatter experimentation. That is just off the show. So what we have next is a few more practical items. What I might do actually is go to, because I know I know that there is a few people hanging out for the the Low Key magazine items review. So just bear with me. Now let's zoom out here a little bit. We've delayed this a few weeks, so I will not delay any further. This is the latest Low Key magazine, the December 2020 edition. Now, Low Key is the journal of the VK QRP Club, which comes out every 2 months. The VK QRP Club is only the princely sum of $15 to join per year, and you get one of these every couple of months. If you're into home brewing, low power ideas, crosswords, etc., then I suggest that you become a member of the VK QRP Club. It has some fantastic articles from a whole bunch of people. In fact, this only recently had a series on the AM transmitter that Nick VK7 Whiskey adapted, I think, from VK3YE's design, and published it, and he ended up taking out the Max Brunga Award for 2020. So congratulations to Nick. So the December edition has, I'll just run through. Obviously the normal ones of the President's Notes and also the Club News, who's coming up for 10, 20 and 30 year anniversaries, and the Bits and Pieces. The QRP Club runs a Bits and Pieces service where you can order a number of items from them. Componentry, which is can include componentry that's usually pretty hard to get, but also all the common stuff at rock bottom prices. And you can there's the annual Treasurer's Report, so they're doing pretty well there from Kevin Zeitz, VK5 AKZ, Kevin. Club payments can now, just a note there about PayPal not being available. And by Trevor Quick, VK5ATQ, who's a bit of a mover and shaker in VK5 around Ballons and the arrangement within Ballons and some references there. Actually, in fact, all the way through, and all of the different conversion factors you can use. You can actually use a ballon not only to go from unbalanced to balanced and vice versa, but also to transform from one type to another. So you can have a 1-to-1 ballon, you can have a 1-to-4. You can have a 1-to-9, 1-to-49, 1-to-72, 1 to etc. etc. So you can do a impedance transformation on the way through. So very handy little things. Tony VK3 TP adventures with the QRP Labs 50-watt amplifier. So not quite QRP, but all about putting the QRP Labs kit together. And he goes through. You can see there's the kit there. There's the finished assembled 50-watt amplifier on the PCB. Now the Max Brunga Award by Peter Storr, VK5. Oh, VK5 nothing. Now Peter Storr's. Now what's Peter? What's Phil? Sorry, Phil Storr. It'll come to me in a minute. Phil is the current president of Adelaide Hills Amateur Radio Group. So there you go. Now this goes through the committee they put together for the assessment of this particular award, and then the best technical article rules. And the announcement then of Nick taking it out for his 3-part article, the simple transmitter for 80 metres as a club project, as an NTAR club project. So he took that out. Congratulations, Nick. Now the QRP Hours contest on 40 metres by Andrew VK1AD. And that was taken out by Ron, VK3 AFW, and also a note in there, Tony's in there, VK7 LTD, so a showing from VK7 in there. Now, speech inverter. This is a very interesting article by Peter Parker, VK3YE. For those rigs that don't come with well, I assume lower or upper sideband, but they are stuck on, in some cases, the commercial rigs are stuck on only allowing you on USB. Peter's come up with a novel way of getting you lower sideband, which is actually using the Dalek speech transformer kit, which is available from I think JCar. To actually get you the lower sideband. So fascinating and quite a novel way of getting you both sidebands on only a one sideband rig. You can see there's the JCar kit. It's one of the short circuits series, the Dalek voice modulator. So there's a few suggestions of some changes in there from Peter. Member classifieds, the cryptic crossword from Chris, VK1CT, which is an amateur radio themed crossword that's in there every week. Application for membership and email addresses as a reminder there. And then on the back it's got Chris's VK1CT's Mountain Topper on the in its cute little cover. and using it at the one of the nature reserves in Canberra. So that's a pretty stereotypical low-key magazine. Always good value and worth. I think worth. You get 6 of these, and they're worth the $15 that you spend for your low-key subscription. So anyway, that's the low-key number 148 for December 2020. So, and I apologise. I can't reply back on the chat channel. I'll just remind people I can't actually get back on the chat channel because we have a technical difficulty with our login right at the moment, which we're trying to deal with. So if you're saying comments, thank you very much for your comments, but I can't actually come back to you. If you can come back on R2, I will put the shout out to those on who are listening and able to call back on R2. Now I have a couple of
Chinese projects.
couple of manual ATU projects going on right at the moment, where I have roller inductors that I have scrounged from all over the place, and Z-match. So in the Z-match configuration, so two capacitors and the inductor, and I actually wanted to put a SWR meter in the box, so that there is it's an antenna tuning unit and also an SWR meter. When I had a look at what was available, in fact, these little boards are available on the web. They are Chinese built. Oh no, sorry, these aren't. These are Chinese built, but they're German. You actually buy them from a German manufacturer, a German designer. Now they're pretty standard SWR bridge. You can see there are 2 bits of wire. Hang on, I'll get my pencil. 2 bits of wire that go through here in each direction, and a pickup coil, which is your forward and reverse. You then have a little bridge arrangement that is, I don't know whether you can pick, no, because it's actually all on the top. That's just a shield on the back. There's a bridge arrangement. You connect up a moving voltmeter or a digital voltmeter, either or. You're able to adjust both the forward and reverse so that you can do some scaling here on these little pots. But these boards, I think I bought 2 of them, landed here, and I think they were landed here for free. Landed here were less than, I think it was $25 for 2 of them, and I actually didn't actually thought that wasn't too bad, given I didn't have to do much, and all I need to do is add a meter to it. So I just thought I'd show what's available in the way of SWR bridges.
What's the bandwidth?
Sorry?
Bandwidth?
HF. It's only HF. So from 160 up to 10 meters.
Oh, right.
So 160 to 10 meters. I don't know how well it performs down at like 160 versus 10 meters, but I am soon to find out. But anyway, this is what's available. Very nicely made, all silk screened, as you can see. There is a data sheet that's available on the German website. So this is anyway SWR bridge, which will be pressed into service. Now, last week we showed the kit, the Waverley Amateur Radio Society kit for power poles, which is now. Let me show you one I prepared earlier. This is the one that I have used for an awfully long time on one of my power supplies, and just to show you that it actually works. This was the kit I built probably 3 or 4 years ago, well and truly. What it does is takes an input on one end, it's got a little voltmeter on there, digital voltmeter on there. You've got 6 power poles, which are each individually fused from 30 amps all the way down, 30 amps, sorry, down to 5 amps in progressive scale here. There's a polarity LED on here, so if you turn it around and that says red, you've got the wrong polarity. If the fuse blows, there is a little LED that then lights, underneath each fuse, if I can get a fuse out. You may or may not be able to see it down in there, but anyway, there is, oh hang on, let me turn on. Oh, you can just see down in there. You can see the current limiting resistor down there, and the LED is right in between those spade lugs. So if the fuse blows, then the LED lights up, and it tells you, and because these are translucent, it then tells you which particular fuse has blown. Now, what we showed last week was I bought another one of these because I have another power supply that I want to use it on, and it came in a very nice 3D printed case, and also a 3D printed, oh that's a good point, and a 3D printed, hang on, a 3D printed template which enabled you to line up all of these fuses and the power poles. You can see power poles on that side, fuses on that side. So it enables you to line these all up, so when you solder them in, they're in the right place to go through the hole in the box. And what is also on this one is you still get the voltmeter with it, but the voltmeter actually sits on top, which is actually a much better arrangement because you're plugging in things this way into the power poles, and you had to look around the side to see the voltmeter, whereas here they've made the box just a little bit bigger, and voila, you have a voltmeter on the top. The only problem with the kit is they haven't quite updated the cover to accommodate the voltmeter. You actually need to cut out a bit more for the voltmeter on the top, so that's one bit of updating they haven't quite got to. But anyway, comes in a very nice little comes in with some fantastic instructions on how to put it all together. It took me probably from go to woe about, I don't know, half an hour, 3/4 an hour to get to that point. Not very much at all. You do need, however, a pretty decent soldering iron. So a soldering iron of high wattage, because there are some very large pads, copper pads on both sides of the PCB that just suck up the heat. So if you've got the likes of a scope soldering iron, which is what I used, or the likes, you will have absolutely no trouble, or you may have to sit there for a little while with your lower wattage soldering iron and solder up the power poles and also the spade lugs on the for the fuses. But other than that, it does have the polarity. Still has the polarity LED on it. So if you turn that around, it goes red, and funnily enough, doesn't show you any voltage because it doesn't go negative. So yeah, that's the power pole kit. Just thought I'd show you the finished product, given we showed you the kit last week. So let's go back to here. So to finish off, a reminder for the Ross Hull. Now the Ross Hull is still running. Ross Hull Memorial Contest runs all of January. For those people who have been gathering 23 centimetre and 2 and 70 and 6 and whatever else, then thanks Peter. And filling in the log, you need to get the log in obviously after the 31st of January. the big thing is that you need to remember is each day is potentially, if you miss one day, don't forget that it is all around UTC time, so you can still make contacts on the previous day up until 11 o'clock, and then make those contacts again after 11 o'clock, and basically you've covered both of those days. So the way that you log signal report, grid square, the point scoring is for distance and frequency based. So and it goes for your best 7, your best 2 and 7 days. I think I'm right there. So if you put in a whole lot of logs over January, what it will do is take you specify whether you want your best 7 days or your best 2 days or something like that, and it does that calculation accordingly. So remember, please put in your log. We don't traditionally get a lot of VK7s. So it would be good to see whether we can get a few people interested in from VK7. So there you go. Now, before we go to see if there's any callbacks, our videos for tonight, we've got a bit of a retro feel to our videos tonight. There's the first one is using a Commodore 64 to communicate with the ISS and a bulletin board. There is a bit of a teardown of a 1980s missile targeting display unit from the 1980s, and a very interesting video on the Nemo tube. Now, I'd never heard of the Nemo tube, and surprisingly enough, it says it's the rarest and most dangerous digital display of all time. And the reason for it's the most dangerous is it runs off of 1750 volts, because it's a little mini CRT tube that projects the numbers onto a bit of phosphor on the front of the screen. So, but anyway, has a bit of a history around that. So that's with Frantech. So those people who spend their time on YouTube, on the various YouTube channels, will know the lady. And I finish off with a blast from the past, which is a 1940s video from AT&T called "The Modern Aladdin's Lamp: All About Vacuum Tubes." So that's our videos for tonight. So we'll just put out a quick call. This is VK7 OTC, the club station of the Radio and Electronics Association, with our DATV experimenters night. Just putting the call out to see whether anybody has any questions or comments for our DATV night. This is VK7 OTC listening. Yeah, VK7RM. Go ahead, VK7. This is VK7 OTC.
Evening, Dustin. Thanks. Another good presentation. Very interesting. So, well done.
Thanks, Ron. Thank you very much. Yeah, the rain scatter, that rain scatter experimentation is just off the show. I can't believe there is signals on 10 gigs between VK3 and VK7 pretty much most of the time. That's just outrageous. That's taking it to a whole new level. Over.
Certainly is. Another use for rain. Cheers, Justin.
Cheers, Ron. Any further comments or questions? Please go ahead. Okay, nothing heard. There will be another broadcast, same time and same frequencies, next Wednesday night. This is VK7 OTC, now clear, 73. Alright, we'll get underway with our videos, and we'll see you at our next DATV Experimenters Night, 73.